Close your eyes for a moment and imagine doubting everything. Your body, this room, even the thought that you might be dreaming. One thing survives the doubt, the very act of thinking itself. This is where the philosopher René Descartes begins. His simple but radical claim is, while I'm thinking, I cannot doubt that I exist. That's the famous cogito, often shortened to, I think, therefore I am. But Descartes didn't stop there. He asked, what exactly am I? And his answer was, a thinking thing. By this he meant a subject that doubts, understands, affirms, denies, wills, imagines, and senses. For him, this is known with more certainty than anything our eyes or hands could show us. Why not say, I am my body? Descartes argued that the mind is known first, and more clearly. You could be deceived by your senses, a dream, an illusion, a trick of the light. But the very occurrence of thinking, as it happens, is undeniable. At the most basic level, the self isn't hands and feet. It's the subject that is thinking, right now. But here's the problem. If the mind and body are truly distinct, how do they interact? Princess Elizabeth of Bohemia, one of the Descartes' correspondents, pressed him with this exact question. How can an immaterial mind move a material body? How does fear quicken a heartbeat, or a decision raise an arm? This challenge sparkled centuries of debate over the mind-body relationship. So what am I? For Descartes, I am a thinking thing, a self that is first known from the inside out. In later episodes, we explore other answers. Hume's bundle of perceptions, the Buddhist no-self, Parfit's continuity of psychology, and a view called animalism. But for tonight, remember, as long as you're thinking, you are. Tonight, a calm look at the quiet engine behind long-term investing, compound interest. Picture two white lines on a blackboard. The first is simple interest. You earn on your original amount only, so the line rises at a steady, straight angle. The second is compound interest. You earn on the original amount and on the growth from previous periods. That line starts gentle, then curves upward. Here's the intuition. With compounding, growth begets growth. Gains this year join the pile, so next year you're earning on a slightly larger base. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, small at first, then it keeps rolling. It gathers more snow, which gathers more snow. A quick rule to feel the pace is the rule of 72. Roughly take 72 divided by your annual growth rate to estimate years to double. For example, at 6% a year, 62 divided by 6 approximately equals 12 years to double. At 8%, the rule sets about 9 years. At 3%, closer to 24 years. It isn't exact, but it's a handy mental shortcut. Let's ground it with a small example. Suppose you start with $1,000. At 5%, simple interest for 20 years, you add $50 each year, adding around $2,000. At 5% compound interest, the money grows on itself. After 20 years, it's roughly $2,653. The difference, about $653, is compounding quietly doing its work. Two levers drive compounding, rate, and time. The rate isn't fully in our control, but time often is. By starting earlier and staying consistent, that's why people say, time in the market beats timing the market. Even modest, regular contributions plus enough time can outrun larger, irregular bursts. Early on, progress feels slow. Later, the same percentage growth produces bigger absolute gains because the base is bigger. Think habits. Tiny, repeated actions, weekly or monthly, compound into meaningful change. A few caveats keep the picture honest. First, volatility. Markets don't glide, they zigzag. The smooth curve you imagine is an average over many bumps. Short-term dips don't cancel the logic of compounding, but they do test patience. Second, inflation. Prices rise over time. If your money grows at 5% and inflation is 2%, the real growth, what your money actually buys, is closer to 3%. Compounding still helps. Just remember to think in after-inflation terms. Third, costs and fees. Even small ongoing fees slightly slow the curve over long horizons because they reduce the base that compounds. And fourth, debt. Compounding works both ways. High interest debt can compound against you, which is why many people prioritize paying it down. What about timing? It's tempting to wait for the perfect moment to start, but perfect moments reveal themselves only in hindsight. Compounding rewards time spent invested, not perfect entry points. A calm habit of regular contributions, whether weekly or monthly, is a way to participate without predicting. If you're like a one-line takeaway, keep this. Compounding is patient mathematics. You don't need perfect timing. You need time and consistency. The early years feel quiet, then the curve begins to speak. Sleep well and let the snowball roll. Tonight, a short idea with a long shadow. Loss aversion. Why does losing $10 feel worse than winning $10 feels good? Behavioral scientists call this losses loom larger than gains. On average, the pain of a loss is about twice the pleasure of an equal gain. It varies by person and situation, but the tilt is strong enough to shape everyday choices. The classic framework is prospect theory. We don't judge outcomes on an absolute scale. We judge them relative to a reference point, usually where I am now. If you sketch that on a simple graph, the line for gains rises gently, while the line for losses drops more steeply. There's a little kink at zero. That kink is the feeling in your stomach when something shifts from mine to not mine. A quick test shows it. Suppose I offer a fair coin flip. Win $20 on heads, lose $20 on tails. Many people say no to get a yes. I often have to sweeten the win to $40 or more, roughly the 2-to-1 rule of thumb in action. You see loss aversion at home too. A free trial changes your reference point from I don't have this to I have this now. So cancelling feels like a loss. That's part of the endowment effect. We value that we already own more than an identical thing we don't. Refund policies and warranties pull the other way. They soften the fear of losing money, nudging us to buy. And once we've paid, sunk costs tug us to continue, because stopping feels like locking in a loss. Loss aversion also bends our attitude to risk. In the gain domain, we tend to protect what we've got. In a loss domain, we may take extra risk to claw back to zero. Same person, same stakes, different side of the reference point. That's why a smaller paper loss can tempt us into big, risky moves to get even. What helps? Refrain. Ask not only what might I gain, but what loss am I avoiding? Naming both sides stabilizes the choice. Pre-commit. Use defaults that help future you. Automatic savings. Opt-in limits. Cooling off periods before big purchases. Act once. Benefit many times. Set better reference points. Compare to your past self, not to other people's highlight reels. Progress feels larger when you track from where you started. Shrink the stakes. Break choices into smaller steps so any single loss is tolerable. Small losses teach without dominating. Name the bias. Saying this is loss aversion often reduces its pull, like turning the lights on in a dark room. Use the insight ethically, too. If you design products or messages, prefer honest guarantees, clear cancellation paths, and transparent framing. Help people avoid unnecessary losses. Don't create them to manufacture pressure. Takeaway. Losses feel larger than gains, so we lean hard to avoid them. Notice the tilt. Adjust the frame. Build gentle defaults and protect future you. Over time, your decisions get calmer and better. Tonight, a simple question with a powerful answer. How does an AI know which words matter in a sentence? It pays attention. Imagine each sentence as a row of word tokens. Instead of reading left to right and hoping for the best, the model lets each token look at every other token and ask, how relevant are you to me right now? The result is a set of weights. Higher weight, more influence. Lower weight, less. A classic example is the word bank. In The River Bank Flooded, the model should lean towards river. In The bank approved a loan, it should lean towards approved and loan. Attention lets the model disambiguate by focusing on the right neighbors. Under the bonnet, each token is turned into 3 small packets of information called query, key, and value. The query, Q, is what this word is looking for. The key, K, is what this word offers others. The value, V, is the content to be blended and passed along. For any pair of words, we compare a query with another word's key to get a score. We then turn those scores into soft weights, so they sum nicely, and use them to take a weighted mix of the values. The output is a refreshed representation of each word, now enriched by the context it has attended to. Because language has many kinds of patterns, transformers use multi-head attention. Several attention sets run in parallel, each looking for something different. Syntax, long-range links, named entities, and subtle phrasing. Think of it as several spotlights scanning the same sentence from different angles, then combining what they find. Why does this work so well? First, it captures long-distance relationships, not, until, or a pronoun referring to a noun far away. Second, it parallelizes beautifully on modern hardware, so the model can scale to lots of data. Third, it's data-driven. Those attention weights are learned from examples, not handwritten rules. There are limits. The context window, how many tokens the model can attend to at once, is finite. Very long inputs get trimmed or summarized. Attention can also spread too thin or focus on the wrong cues, producing confident but incorrect outputs. And like any data-hungry system, it can reflect biases in its training data. Takeaway: attention is a polite, parallel conversation among words, where each asks, who should I listen to? By blending information according to those answers, transformers build rich meaning from plain text. Next time in Data and AI, tokens and context windows, what tokens are, why limits exist, and how chunking helps. Tonight, a simple trick for finding new words we can't see. Look at a star. Now imagine a small planet passing in front of it, just for a moment, from a point of view. As the planet transits the star, a tiny bit of starlight is blocked. From far away, the star appears to dim slightly, then return to normal. That little dip is a clue. We don't need a close-up picture of the planet. We just watch the star's brightness over time. On a simple chart, brightness runs flat, then a neat U-shaped dip, then flat again. If the same dip repeats at regular intervals, we may have found a planet. What can that dip tell us? First, size. Bigger planet, deeper dip. A giant like Jupiter hides more of the star's surface than a small rocky world, so the brightness falls a touch more during transit. Second, orbit. The time between dips is the planet's period. How long it takes to go around the star. Short period. The planet is closer in. Long period is farther away. The duration of the dip also helps. A longer crossing usually means a slower path or a bigger star. Third, sometimes the shape of the dip whispers extra details. A very crisp U can hint at a clean passage. A slightly rounded bottom can hint at an atmosphere blurring the edge, a teaser for more advanced work. Why does this method work so well? Because we can monitor many stars at once. Telescopes like Kepler and TAS simply stare and measure tiny changes in light, night after night. Out of those patient measurements come thousands of candidates, many of them worlds we never expected. There are limits. The geometry has to be lucky. The planet's orbit must be lined up so it crosses the star from our viewpoint. Many real planets won't transit at all, so we only see a slice of what's out there. And dips can be mimicked by star spots, by two stars eclipsing each other, or by instrument noise. That's why scientists look for repeatable patterns and follow up with other methods, like radial velocity, which measures a tiny wobble in a star. Best of all, transits let us study atmospheres. During a transit, a thin ring of starlight filters through the planet's air. Different gases leave faint fingerprints in that light. With careful instruments, we can ask not just, is there a planet, but what is its sky made of? Takeaway. By watching for a small regular teaming, we can find planets across impossible distances and begin to sketch their size, and even a hint of their air, all from a gentle dip in starlight. Tonight, a simple rule for how brands win. Frame the category before it frames you. Positioning is the spot you choose in the customer's mind. It answers four plain questions. Who it's for, what job it does, which category you're in, and why you're the best choice there. If you don't choose that spot, the market will choose it for you, usually somewhere blurry, cheap, or forgettable. Picture a ladder in your category. People mentally rank options, first, second, third. Trying to be for everyone leaves you somewhere in the middle of the rungs, where no one can remember you. A better move is to pick a rung you can own, even if it's a smaller one. Now a 2x2 map. Put two axes that your customers actually care about, say price and speed, or privacy and power. Drop the competitors on the map. If you're sitting in a crowded center, you'll spend money to shout the same message as everyone else. If you choose an edge, faster delivery at a fair price, or premium and privacy first, your story gets sharper and pricing gets easier. Turn that into a single line and only in a sentence. For who need. Brand is the category that only unique benefit. For example, for busy students who need notes that stick, Moonlight Minutes is the bedtime explainer channel that turns complex ideas into calm 3-minute lessons. Notice how that line quietly sets the who, the job, the category, and the onlyness. It also tells you what not to do. If you are calm 3-minute lessons, you don't chase loud, 20-minute hype videos. Saying no keeps your position clear. 2 quick examples in the wild. A budget airline doesn't copy the lounge of a full-service carrier. It owns lowest fare, no frills. A privacy-first messenger doesn't compete on stickers. It owns end-to-end encryption by default. Each picked a rung and a corner of the map, then built everything to fit. Common traps. Category creep, adding features that pull you into a different category and dilute your edge. Me Too messaging, using the same adjectives as everyone else. Innovative, trusted, quality. Empty words don't position, choices do. Crowded middle, being moderately good at everything and memorable for nothing. Takeaway. Positioning is discipline. Choose a rung, pick your 2 axes, write your onlyness sentence, and align product, pricing, and messaging to match. When your position is clear, customers decide faster, your team chooses better, and your brand stops shouting to be heard. Tonight, a short journey to the beginning of Imperial China, the Qing Dynasty, 221 to 206 BCE. For centuries, China had been a patchwork of rival states. Qin, a western state with disciplined armies and tough laws, conquered by others one by one. In 221 BCE, its king took a new title, first emperor Qin Shi Huang, and declared the land unified. What made Qin different wasn't just victory, it was how they governed. Influenced by legalism, they built a system that prized clear rules, central control, and rewards for performance. The empire was divided into commanderies and countries run by appointed officials, not hereditary lords. Power flowed upward, records flowed downward. Then comes standardization, the quiet magic of a big state working smoothly. Qin set common weights and measures, a uniform coin, and even standardized axle widths so carts fit the same ruts on imperial roads. They promoted a shared script so orders could be read across regions. Everyday life became more compatible, and tax transport became easier to manage. The first emperor also built. He ordered a network of straight roads and major canals to feed armies and fields. In the north, Qin linked and extended the existing walls into long frontier fortifications, early foundations of what we later call the Great Wall. And under the earth, near the capital, a vast terracotta army was crafted to guard the emperor in death. Thousands of silent soldiers, each with a distinct face. But there was a darker edge. Qin law was harsh, with collective punishment and heavy labor demands for walls, roads, and palaces. Later accounts described the burning of certain books and the punishment of scholars to stamp out dissent. A story debated by historians, but part of the dynasty's enduring image. The same force that united the realm also bred resentment. After Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BCE, court struggles and a weak successor, the second emperor, unsettled the reign. Rebellions fled, starting with small uprisings that grew bold and the center faltered. By 206 BCE, the dynasty collapsed. Power passed through warlords like Jiang Yu. Power passed through warlords like Xiang Yu before settling with Liu Bang, who founded the Han Dynasty. Qin's short rule left a long legacy. The imperial bureaucracy, the map of countries and roads, the habits of standardization, and the idea of a central state survived into Han and beyond. Even the word China, some say, may echo Qin. Takeaway: Qin was brief but foundational, a hard push that forged the tools of empire, law, standards, roads, war, and a single political center. What followed in Chinese history often responded to Qin's example, sometimes softening it, sometimes reviving it. Sleep well.